You've been taught that the most dangerous fighters are the ones who look the part, scarred, massive, intimidating from across the room. But in three of the world's most brutal combat sports, the warriors rewriting the rules of violence are women who society still expects to be delicate, decorative, harmless.
4 rounds, your winner, and the inaugural Women's Bantamweight Champion of the World, Sorry Manfred!
They smile for the camera, then step into cages and rings where bones break and blood flows as freely as anywhere men fight. By the time you realize you've underestimated them, you're already on the ground.
Bloody notes. Now, I'm sorry, I can't give you like a hazmat suit before you go in there to do your interview, but do the best you can.
This has been a phenomenal fight.
Incredible.
The moment of realization hits harder than any punch you've ever seen. You're watching Rose Namajunas deliver a head kick that crumples her opponent like paper.
It's over! Rose Namajunas! Rose Namajunas!
Dog Rose! Unbelievable! Dog Rose!
There is a new strawweight queen!
And suddenly, your brain has to reconcile what just happened with everything you thought you knew. That wasn't luck. That wasn't a fluke. That was precision violence, cultivated through thousands of hours most people will never witness. We tell ourselves comfortable lies about combat sports, that women's divisions are somehow softer, that the stakes aren't as high, that the damage isn't as real. Then you see Amanda Nunes dismantle legends with the same cold efficiency as any male champion, and those lies evaporate. You watch Valentina Shevchenko execute a liver kick so perfect, her opponent literally can't breathe. And you understand this isn't performance, it's warfare. The shock comes from confronting your own bias, from realizing you've been watching through a filter that diminished what was always there. These women aren't breaking barriers or proving points anymore. They're past that. They're simply being what they've always been. Elite fighters operating at the absolute pinnacle of human combat capability. And you're just now catching up to a reality that's been staring you in the face all along. And if you want to see just how far this goes, subscribe to WildSportsX. Because what comes next breaks down exactly how they do it. The science of female MMA reveals something most casual observers miss entirely. These fighters have turned physical disadvantage into strategic superiority.
This fight's over.
Where raw power might fail, they've developed technical systems so refined, they make brutality look like ballet. Watch Joanna Jędrzejczyk dismantle opponents with volume striking. She's not trying to knock you out with one punch. She's landing 270 strikes over 5 rounds, each one calculated to damage specific targets, to slow your movement, to cloud your judgment until you're fighting through a fog of accumulated trauma. We're talking about fighters who've mastered the mental chess game that separates good from elite. Zhang Weili doesn't just throw combinations. She's reading your defensive patterns in real time, adjusting angles mid-exchange, setting traps 3 moves ahead while you're still processing what just hit you. The precision is surgical. When Valentina Shevchenko throws that body kick, she's not aiming for your ribs. She's targeting the liver with millimeter accuracy, knowing that organ doesn't care how tough you think you are. It shuts your body down whether you're ready or not. This technical mastery emerges from necessity. Without the luxury of relying purely on physical dominance, female fighters developed more complete skill sets earlier in their careers. They had to. So they became specialists in leverage and timing, understanding that a perfectly executed armbar doesn't require strength when you've got the angle right. They turned grappling into geometry and striking into physics. And here's what makes them truly dangerous. They've internalized pain tolerance at levels that would break most people. We're watching athletes who train through injuries that would sideline others, who've recalibrated their relationship with suffering until discomfort becomes just another variable to manage. When Rose Namajunas steps into that octagon, she's not hoping her technique works. She knows it will. She's tested it against the best in the world, refined it through thousands of sparring rounds, and proven it when everything was on the line. That's not confidence. That's certainty born from scientific repetition. Knights in shining armor aren't folklore anymore. They're standing right in front of you, and they're women carrying 60 pounds of steel into combat that would have terrified medieval warriors. We're talking about full-contact armored fighting where swords actually connect, where maces crush metal against bone, where the impact sounds like car accidents happening in slow motion. This isn't Renaissance fair cosplay. This is historical European martial arts reconstructed with brutal authenticity. And women have stormed into it with a ferocity that's rewriting the entire sport. You watch someone like Yekaterina Korozhaya swing a longsword with enough force to dent armor plating, and your brain struggles to process the sheer physical endurance required. These fighters are carrying the weight of a small child while executing techniques that demand explosive power and precise footwork. They're fighting in conditions that cause heat exhaustion within minutes, where dehydration becomes a tactical consideration, where simply staying upright requires core strength most athletes never develop. And they're doing it in a domain that spent centuries insisting women didn't belong on battlefields. Every tournament they enter, every opponent they defeat, every championship they claim demolishes another layer of historical fiction about what women's bodies can and cannot endure. The armor doesn't care about your preconceptions. Neither do they. The art of 9 limbs takes everything you thought you knew about combat sports and sets it on fire. Lethwei isn't just brutal. It's ancestral violence refined over centuries in Burma, where fighters use fists, elbows, knees, feet, and headbutts with no gloves, no padding, nothing between bone and flesh except intent. And women are stepping into this nightmare willingly. You're watching fighters wrap their hands in gauze and tape, knowing that's the only protection they'll have when they start breaking each other apart. We're talking about a sport where headbutts are legal, where knockouts are the preferred outcome, where fights continue until someone can't. The cultural tradition runs deep. Lethwei predates Muay Thai by centuries. Born from battlefield necessity when Burmese warriors needed to kill efficiently with whatever body parts remained functional. Now, women like Soros Manfredi are carrying that legacy forward, absorbing punishment that would hospitalize casual observers. You see her take a headbutt that opens a cut above her eye, watch the blood stream down her face, and she doesn't retreat. She presses forward because that's what Lethwei demands. This isn't about proving toughness anymore. This is about embodying a level of ferocity so raw, so primal, that it transcends gender entirely. You either have it or you don't. They have it. The truth about strength isn't what you thought it was when we started. It's not about size or gender or who hits hardest. It's about who refuses to break when breaking would be easier. These women redefined power by walking into spaces that didn't want them and proving their worth through blood and victory. You came here thinking you knew danger. Now you know better. And if you want to see more of what real power looks like, subscribe to WildSportsX because this is only the beginning.